Network Entertainment.
This is brought to you by Meralco.
Hello, listeners. Hello, everyone in PR and communications. Welcome to the Pioneer PRSP YouthCon in a podcast. This is Breaking Down the Buzz, and I am your host, Ed Timbungco. I'm PR manager of Mang Inasal. I've been in the industry for over 30 years, but I also teach part-time. So that's what I do. And today, do you know that you're part of history? Yes, you are. The PRSP YouthCon in a podcast is the first of its kind in the communications industry. Breaking Down the Buzz is in partnership with the Pod Network, and this collaboration really shows how the different entities work together to create innovative ideas to reach more students and young professionals. By using platforms like podcasts, PRSP and the Pod Network deliver learnings to a wider audience. This is a pioneer event in the PR industry and for allied industries in using craft and technology for innovative and sustainable activations. Breaking Down the Buzz is a 12-part podcast series that tackles one different topic every podcast. The 12 topics are designed to be relevant to students and practitioners of PR and communications. Our discussions are current and fresh, and the talk points are direct, easy to digest, and very useful for school or your current work. In short, suitable for all young listeners and best for all ages, right? So without further ado, let's get started. You know, you look around and everything is new. So much information that needs to get to the public or specific people. This makes PR and communications that much important and integral to media, to brands, to marketing and advertising. So it's timely to discuss our topic for today: preparing next-gen PRs, career opportunities in PR and communications. I am pleased to welcome colleagues to this podcast. Proof of the pudding is one of them is a student of mine. Joining us are Diane Hidalgo, Director for Corporate and Public Affairs of
Hi.
Evident Integrated Marketing and PR. Hi, Diane.
Hello.
And ito, dahil nasabi ng student ko nga, si Kate Delos Reyes, founder of Beacon. Hi, Kate.
Hi, Sir Ed.
So, it's good that it's for all ages. No, I feel so old using this technology. Buti naabutan ko pa. Anyway, so first, let's hear from our guests. Please share a little something about yourself and what you do. Maybe we can start with Kate.
Hi, thanks for having me, Sir Ed, and to the PRSP. Thanks for having me. My name is Kate Delos Reyes. I'm the founder of Beacon. Beacon is a mental health platform for Filipino families. I started it this year after a 2-decade rounds across different industries. I started out my career in PR, which we will be talking more about later on. I'm also a mom of 2 boys.
Wow. Thank you, Kate. So let's go to Diane.
All right. So my name is Diane Hidalgo. I lead the corporate and public affairs practice of Evident. So Evident is an integrated marketing and communications firm. The focus of this firm really is behavior change and social impact. So we serve clients in the corporate space but also in the NGO and even the government sectors. So yun, 6 years na ako dito sa Evident but 15 years in PR altogether. I'm also a mom, but a fur mom. The one very demanding fur child.
Wow. So very wide yung ating panghuhugutan, no, sa ating
Yes.
discussion today. Thank you for your intro. Let's go to our discussion. First off, what attracted you to PR and communications to begin with? Kate?
I've always been I've always known that I wanted to get into communications. Since I was in high school, that was when I found out that my strengths were in English, in communication. I was not bad at math,
Okay.
but I like words more. So that was where I felt like I could be more creative and also more structured. And I found that that's where I found my joy. So I took up organizational communication in UP Manila after graduating from high school. So that started my career in communications.
In your case, Diane,
Ako naman,
paano ka nasuot sa PR?
writing major ako sa UPLB.
Okay.
So I took up communication arts and said, okay, I wanna be a writer. So when I got out of college, yun yung una kong hinanap. Like, I wanted a writing job. But I was pretty sure na hindi ko kaya maging journalist. Iba yung rigor nun. So I said, okay, baka PR writer. So I went out and looked for, jobs as a PR writer. There were not a lot of openings for, just a PR writer. Marami, account executive, PR assistant. That was my first job. And it involved not just writing, but also media relations, strategy development, a lot of client servicing. So eventually, doon ako napadpad and I said, okay, there's a bit of writing naman there. So I stayed. 15 years later, oh my gosh, tatanda na yata ako dito. Hindi ko na malayan.
So writing is basic. If you want to pursue a career in PR, is that our take here?
Clarity of thought is
Okay.
basic in PR. And that is
Yes.
what writing gives you, forces you to do. Kailangan ma-articulate mo yung thought, yung concept, simplify it so that it becomes readable to an audience of older people, younger people, specialists, etc. Simplify. Yun.
Yes. So it's really communicating from the perspective of the person you're communicating with. No, it's not with all due respect, hindi naman yung creative for creativity's sake. But it really has to be in support of an objective, a business goal.
Sir, if I may
Yes.
sideline a bit, kwento ko paano ako nadapa in the field of PR. Nadapa because it's accidental for me. I grew up in an ad agency. So my mom worked at an ad agency a month after she gave birth to me. So she was there for 3 decades. And I practically grew up roaming the halls of an ad agency. So that, I believe, influenced me. That's why the first job that I wanted to get into was in an ad agency. Pangarap ko maging account executive sa ad agency.
Okay.
So after graduation, sinuyod ko talaga the yellow pages for ad agencies. I applied at each and every ad agency and I heard from no one.
Walk-in ba to?
Yes, walk-in. Kasi hindi pa uso yung email applications. So walk-in, roaming the streets of Ayala Avenue
Yes.
with the brown envelope. So yes. So I applied to all the ad agencies and then nung nasuyod ko na silang lahat, sabi ko, okay, next naman, PR agencies. Okay. I personally didn't know a lot of PR agencies, but ganun din, yellow pages. And shocks, the kids who are listening now don't even know what yellow pages
Oo
are.
nga
So basically, it's a list of companies. So I applied to a few PR agencies, and then the first PR agency that got back to me the next day after I sent in my application was Perceptions. And then they interviewed me, and then I started the week after. So that was how I stumbled upon my first job as a PR assistant also. And that's laid the foundation for all the skills that I have acquired throughout my career. And yeah, so sometimes it's you know for sure na yun talaga yung gusto mong puntahan, sometimes matatapilok ka na lang at mapupunta doon.
You worked together in Perceptions before. Nagpang-abot ba kayo? Or?
No,
Okay.
hindi po kami batch. Yeah.
You're ahead by how many years?
Secret!
Sige.
I was ahead by, I don't know, maybe 3-4 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nagwawalwal pa po ako noon sa college. Maybe.
Noong mga panahon na yun.
Noong panahon na yun.
But how did the agency experience prepare you for the career that you have now, or where you are now in terms of your life choices?
Grabe yung life choices, Sir Ed. But the agency life is vibrant. It's full of variety. One day you could be learning about energy, financials, capital markets. The next day, lipstick tsaka makeup. So it's like, if you're the type of person who wants to learn about the world, literally, and you get excited about things easily, the agency life would suit you, would suit you well. Especially if you are young and you have a lot of energy and you are capable of having a late night hanggang 1 a.m., 2 a.m., tapos kaya mong pumasok ng 8:00 sa pool yan. Ngayon, hindi na eh. Hirap nang recover. But you learn a lot if you start here.
And you had the same experience also, Kate?
Yeah, I would say that my 2 years at the PR agency taught me how to think, how to talk, and how to write. So, from yung writing emails, as simple as emails, that's where I learned how to write an email properly, to writing press releases, to writing pitches. And that's also where I learned how to speak to the media, speak to clients, speak to a sea of strangers as an event host, and also how to think, how to prioritize tasks, how to lay out a plan in order to carry out a project successfully. So those are, I think, the basic skills that one could learn from an agency setup. Of course, you can learn that from anywhere, diba? But I think the setup of an agency is it allows the variety. There's a breadth of experiences, skills, industries, clients that you could learn from. And I think that's crucial for the first few years of your career, because that would allow you to explore and then maybe discover what you're really interested in and what you would want to deep dive on for the next, season of your career.
So would you say a lot of people skills, in addition to writing and thinking clearly, it's also having the ability to deal with different types of people in different industries, different brands? Is that what we're telling them?
Yeah, I tend to agree kasi with PR, you deal with the media, diba?
Yes.
But you also deal with a lot of resource persons. Your resource persons can be, secretary of the finance department, can also be a founder of a startup, can also be your aling tendera who is learning for the first time how to use e-payments. So ang dami mong makakasalamuha every day, and it's a range, literally.
And in the case of Evident, you also have clients outside NCR,
Yeah.
right? Tell us about the experience.
So, si Evident, like I said, does a lot of behavior change and social impact, communications for social impact work. No? So, we do have clients, normal clients from the corporate side, private sector, some government, but some NGOs. And yung presence nitong mga NGOs na to in other, in other cities, medyo nandun sila nag-i-invest ng time and effort and resources. And what we found is that, number one, there are a lot of exciting things happening outside of Manila. central business districts are being built in other places. But at the same time, you have a lot of practitioners doon sa Davao, sa Sarangani, sa CDO. They do not have the same resources the same resources as we have here. So pupunta kami doon, punta kami doon sa NGO, sa local practitioner, doon sa mga gumagawa ng tourism branding. We go there and then we capacitate. Tuturo kami how do you what's the best practice now for writing releases, for seeding, what's the best practice for reading and collecting data, what's the best practice for creating your audiences. Tapos, dinadala lang namin yung information doon so that they can run their programs independently. And that was the case for a lot of clients na government or nasa civil society, and funded by aid agencies like USAID or Australian Aid.
So dito pa lang sa Philippines, ang dami ng options for students, PR and Com students. But I think the competition is also stiff because I'm sure hindi lang naman Com students ang mga nakatrabaho ninyo sa respective companies that you've worked in. Like I think may mga engineers then who are very good in writing, no? Or so is PR a career open to everyone who would have the skill set that you were mentioning, or kailangan, I'm sure it's an advantage na may PR degree ka or comms degree, or hindi kailangan yon? What's your take on that?
I think that what you learn from college is the basics of communication. Diba? There's the sender, the message, the receiver. There's your target audience, diba? And customizing the message so that message is clearly communicated as intended. That's the advantage of students who graduate with a communications degree. That may not be a fundamental, I guess, course or skill in an engineering degree. What engineering graduates might have would probably be project management skills, diba? Maybe they're more adept with technology or emerging technology. Maybe they have a more scientific way of tackling problems versus a more creative way. But again, I think that the field of PR also offers a variety of career options. Some companies, kasi tayo yung sa atin, so we came from we had the same first company that we joined. The role is multifaceted, diba? You're not just a writer, you're a project manager, you're a publicity writer, you're in media relations. So it's really, you can run a project on your own. But in other companies, it's more specialized. You're a writer. That's it, diba? Or you're in media relations. That's it. So, salita ka na salita, hanap ng mga kakausapin mo sa media, stakeholders, etc. Not a lot of writing. So I guess it's really about knowing what your current skill sets are and what you want to learn more, and finding a good, I'm not saying perfect, but finding a good fit for what you already have. Because iba-iba pa rin yung hulma ng mga roles in PR.
Oh, that's so true.
Yes. But what will guide you to make the decision on which path to take?
That's a difficult question to answer, sir. Kasi,
from your experience?
Yeah, from my experience, and also so I have 17 people in my team. A lot of them are fresh grads. Some came from radically different places. I have one who used to be a teacher. I have a teammate. He used to be a teacher. One who used to be a nurse. Another one who used to be a policy researcher for the government. And all of them are thriving in this industry, in PR. They are doing exceptionally well. And it's not because they got comms degrees. No, it's the degree of adaptability that they showed in understanding client needs, in understanding what the media demands of them in terms of great stories, it's how they relate to and understand clients. May empathy sila, naiintindihan nila kung anong kailangan for the day and for things to succeed. I think with PR, you need to have just some very basic universally good na traits to succeed. Everything else, media rel, can be taught. You will build contacts over time. Strategy development, again, can be taught. You will learn it in a year or two. Writing, hindi naman tayo palangka level na writers lahat. But again, people can learn writing by reading. If you can't write like a palanca winner, you can at least figure out or decide this one is a good piece of writing. And then finally, in the agency setup, client servicing. Marunong kang kumausap ng tao at mag-diagnose ng needs nila. You will succeed in your project, in your retainers.
So largely consultancy mindset, no? In dealing with them. Kate, you had corporate PR experience also. Tell us about what happened in that foray.
I want to hear this.
So actually, after my 2 years at a PR agency, I transitioned into product marketing already. So very little strict PR na yung nangyari. So it was more on marketing na siya. So product marketing, and then I moved on to editorial. So media side naman. So parang inikot ko talaga siya. Editorial. And then agency naman. So content agency, influencer agency. And then medyo nalihis ng konti. It was e-commerce, but content-driven e-commerce. And then now my own startup. Ano nga yung tanong niyo, sir? Kahit ako nalito ako sa sarili kong career.
Experience sa corporate PR. Kasi largely agency, no? Yung ating context so far. Pero for PR in a corporate setting, meron bang kailangan malaman yung mga students if ever that's the path they want to take?
I think that for PR or communications that based in a company, the difference would be you are taking care of one brand, like one mother brand, diba? And there could be several like mga anak of that one mother brand, but at the end of the day, it's like just one family, one industry, probably a few products. That's a good way to sort of strengthen also your skills in brand management and in building contacts that are deep. Kanina yung agency pinag-usapan natin yung breadth, diba? When you get into the corporate side, to the client side, you will be able to go deep. So whether it's in the energy sector, financial sector, FMCG, yan, pwede ka nga talaga mag-specialize dyan, palalim ng palalim. So piliin mo kung ano yung gusto mo. Gusto mo ba ng malawak o malalim? I don't know if there's a middle ground or if a middle ground is good or bad. Maybe wala namang good or bad, but I think that's how I would describe the difference of an agency setup and the client setup. So the agency is more varied, broad, client side mas malalim and mas specialized.
So are we saying kung malinaw kung saan mo gustong lumago no, in terms of your career, then that would be the key factor on whether you would stay in an agency, work in an agency environment, or try the other side of the fence, or maybe other options. I think other PR professionals are also into the academe, no?
Yeah.
Kanina nabanggit natin yung empathy. Natutunan ba natin yun sa college? And were we prepared for that? And I would like to segue to the business that you started up, no, sa Beacon, which I think would entail a lot of empathy also.
Yeah.
So, yun, what are your thoughts on that? How were you able to sharpen your skills on empathizing?
Nako sir, ang habang journey nito for me.
Okay.
Definitely hindi ko siya natutunan ng college. hindi ko rin siya natutunan in my early days in the PR world. No, I learned it quite late. I learned it already when I was in Evident.
Okay.
And Cecile kasi our boss, she's also she's also a coach. And I found out in my leadership journey in Evident na you could be a very technically good manager. Magaling ka sa media rel, sa strat, sa writing, etc. But you could never progress if you don't know how to handle and understand people and empathize with them. If you are not able to understand their motivations, their reasons for feeling a certain way. And even now, honestly, Sir Ed, hindi ako expert dyan. Like, I would still consult with a lot of people in order to try to understand why people act and feel a certain way. Learning it did not come naturally to me. It was the greatest leadership challenge that I had.
Okay.
TBH.
In your case, Kate.
I think that empathy starts at home. That's where you learn how to understand how another person feels, because those are the people that you're most exposed to, diba? Your family. But of course, I know that not everybody is blessed with an empathic family.
Tama.
With a family that teaches
May
you, diba?
hugot.
Oo.
May hugot.
Oo. I learned empathy when I became a mom and when I had people to manage, which came at the same time. I became a people manager on the same year that I gave birth to my first child. And
Stress.
super stress. But also, I think that becoming a mom, hindi ko sinasabing nanay lang yung may ganitong powers. But for me personally, when I became a mom, it was as if the floodgates of empathy was opened. And it was very easy for me to relate with other people when before wala talaga akong pakialam. Oo, wala akong pakialam. So parang I would even think, so may office mate ako before, she's a mom, mag-a-absent siya kasi dadalhin sa dentist yung anak niya. And me, as a single, selfish woman, I would think, hindi ba dapat weekends ginagawa yung dental appointments? I didn't understand how parents would prioritize their children. Now, natatawa ako just thinking about it, diba? But when I became a people manager, I had a different... I became a more nurturing manager, a fairer colleague, more understanding of, the different factors that come into play. You don't go to work as a worker. You go to work as a person with families, with your own personal problems, with ang daming context. Hindi ka naman papasok sa opisina bilang empleyado lang. So, I learned about empathy when I became a manager because parang dumami bigla yung anak ko.
Yung anak mo.
Oo, dumami yung anak ko. So, hindi na siya PR related, but I think it's a lesson also on management, people management,
Yes.
and leadership.
And I think our work in PR is similar to marketing perhaps. Collaborative siya, di ba? You cannot work in silo and say, okay, I wrote a very nice press release. Kayo na bahala dyan, di ba? Parang, okay. So going to Beacon, paano ka napunta dyan? What made you decide to put up this business?
Yeah,
And where is PR here? Kung meron mang role ang PR.
Yeah, I think the role of PR here is woven into the business, into the mission. So Beacon is a mental health platform for families, and our mission is really to empower parents through mental health care. It's interesting how in my first job, I was exposed to advocacy marketing. I managed an advocacy program for reading and for travel.
Read to lead.
Yes, Read to Lead.
Wow, ikaw yun.
Yes, of
Hindi
Pfizer.
naman ako, but I was the project lead, yes. Read to Lead of Pfizer, Vicine. And biyahe tayo. Travel advocacy
Tara na,
campaign.
biyahe tayo.
Yes, of Bonamin to Pfizer then. I was so fortunate to have been the project leads for these two projects, for these two campaigns. Na winner po ng Grand Anvil for 2 consecutive years. So, hindi naman ako yung ideator, di ba? Pero sobrang swerte ko as the project manager because I was exposed to a lot of things. But more importantly, my eyes were namulat yung mga mata ko sa advocacy marketing. Posible pala for business to have a purpose, diba? For where business meets purpose. And ngayon, naging full circle that my business is also mission-driven. It's really to empower parents, moms in particular, who are struggling with mental health. Because number one, we all know about the stigma on mental health, but with moms, I feel like the stigma is bigger. Stigma is stronger because moms are expected to do it all and to have it all. Bawal magreklamo.
Sama naman kaming daddies.
Kasama rin po kayo. Yes.
Dapat kasama kami.
Dapat talaga.
Oo.
Kasi kayo the fathers play a key role in the mental health of the family, but also of the mom. It's sharing the workload, etc. But physically, hormonally, the moms suffer from postpartum depression. 10% of dads suffer from postpartum depression, but 20 to 25% of mothers who give birth suffer from postpartum depression. And that's something that we need to talk about and we need to find treatment for. So that's what we are doing at Beacon. And when I decided to put up a business, I knew I didn't want it to be any kind of business. I needed for it to have a purpose, to also live my purpose through that business. So, yun nga, parang naging full circle moment siya sa akin na may advocacy yung ginagawa ko ngayon.
Yes, that's nice. Good luck sa iyong startup business.
Thank you!
Would you say that the current generation now is more mindful of that sense of purpose? Kasi we're talking about business plus purpose, no? Based on your experience sa mga teammates mo, Diane.
Definitely.
Oo.
I love working with Gen Z. I love working with the Zoomers. Because number one, yes, the mama, they are driven by something else. Mission driven din sila. A lot of the interviews I conducted for project manager roles, they would come to Evident saying, nabasa ko kasi yung ginagawa nyo for this NGO. Nabasa ko yung ginagawa nyo for this sector. And so I sent my application wanting to work specifically for this firm because I am bringing with me a personal advocacy on XYZ. Ang dami na niyan. So my favorite, of course, is this guy. His name is Mark. He's my Mark. He's my teammate, and he used to be a fellow for Teach for the Philippines. So teacher siya for 2 years. He had absolutely no project management experience in PR. But when we got to the interview, we saw that okay, may drive tong bagets na to. And so, we took a chance. We took him in as a project manager. And the first the first account that he handled is Teach for the Philippines. Tapos andun kagad yung alignment, and he was so happy with that. Happy rin kami for him. So marami kaming bagets na ganyan in the firm who suddenly found alignment with the way they're earning money and their personal advocacy. It's not always like that. Like we need to earn money too as a PR firm. Pero the opportunity to create a change in that little patch that you cultivate as a person, that is the reason why some of them stay in the firm, stay in the job. Because let's be honest, PR is a tough job. It's demanding. The hours are sometimes very long. You are subject to many factors, macroeconomic man yan, or budgets ng kliyente. But at the end of the day, I know that the people who work in our firm, malalim yung pinaguhugutan. So, lalaban sila.
At ang ganda pag meron kang North Star.
Yes.
And yung kung bata ka pa lang, alam mo na kung ano yung North Star mo. Kasi kahit saan ka mapadpad, meron kang goal, 'di ba? Meron kang I guess endpoint or yun nga, your North Star na like yung example mo, 'di ba? Teacher siya, lumipat man siya ng ibang role, the passion for
Education is there.
education
Yes.
is there. So it's not, the skills can be learned, but that drive, that passion is hard to find. That's hard to build and
Cultivate.
grow. Yes, in a person.
And I think that's a challenge for PR companies or any company for that matter, any organization, to be able to help the members of that organization find their respective North Stars. No? Whether or not the companies will be able to support that passion. No? Kasi aminin natin when we were in college, marami pang mga, bakit ko ba kinuha tong course na to? Bakit ba dito? Di ba? So, mahirap pa rin talaga mag-decide. And now, I think with all the options available, lalong mas humirap yung decision making di ba? Mas mabuti pa kung minsan yung sabihin mo na lang saan ako pupunta kaysa yung tatanungin mo kung ano ba yung gusto ko sa buhay.
O kaya mag-masters muna ako para ano.
Kasi hindi mo pa alam.
Hindi ko pa alam.
Pero Sir Ed, yung sometimes the challenge of companies is actually cultivating their own mission. Sometimes hindi clear kung ano yung North Star nila, 'di ba? So mahirap mag-alaga or maghanap ng tao or to recruit people who would align with your own vision if you're not clear on your own vision as a company.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, ang sinasabi natin, kung maghahanap sila ng trabaho, alamin kung sino yung may-ari. Kung what the company stands for, no, what the brand stands for, and if their values are aligned, no, initially. Okay, last question. So, anong inyong maipapayo sa next generation who are considering pursuing a career in PR?
Hirap nito.
Parang Helen Vela ba? Sorry, hindi na kayo makaka-relate kay Helen Vela. Sorry po. Sino na ba?
Kahit na yung Charo Santos po.
maalaala.
So medyo updated na rin, sir.
It's hard. It's hard to answer that question, sir, kasi iba-iba ang motivations natin. But at the end of the day, if you're coming in as a fresh graduate or maybe 1 to 2 years experience in the field of communications or anywhere else, I would still go with find a company that is aligned with your values, whose body of work resonates with you. Itong ginagawa nila, I will apply. And, shoot your shot. I mean, ang daming nai-intimidate sa job description na posted sa mga job ads. And most of the time, people assume na I need to have all these things before I could even send my CV. And I'm like, no, just, shoot your shot, send your CV. And if if you get the chance to land that interview, just find that alignment with the hiring manager. Malay mo, 'di ba? Yan lang.
Thank you, Diane. Kate?
For me, I thought that I knew what I wanted earlier on, like from high school, diba? Ad agency, tapos magiging director, magiging boss, head ng ad agency. Obviously, that did not happen for me. What happened was the complete opposite. My career took me on to a crazy journey, to say the least. But what that allowed me to do was to explore, to experiment, and to find, to gain clarity on what was important for me. And it took me 2 decades to do that. I hope there was a quicker way to find what you value as a person so that your next steps, or so that the many decisions that you make in life are aligned with that, diba? Like similar to what you were saying, Diane. And I think that one way to do that is to do different things, to put yourself out there and experiment. Think of yourself as a big experiment in yourself, self-experiment na explore and find out what resonates with you, what you like, before you go out there and find the company for you, find the next job for you. And when it comes to the interview, one interview tip that I would give is, please do not pretend to be anybody else except for who you really are. Because para ano yan, matching yan eh, 'di ba? It's para siyang dating, 'di ba? If you pretend to be somebody else, you will not be able to sustain that on a day-to-day basis for the rest of your time at that company. So be who you are. Be your almost best self. And I say almost because you cannot always be the best all the time. Be your best self, almost best self when you go to the interview. Be yourself. Do not try to impress the other person too much. Because at the end of the day, the hiring manager is looking for somebody who will match with what they are looking for. They're looking for a match with the company. So kung hindi ikaw yon, then that's okay. Kung ikaw yon, then that's also okay. So walang mawawala if you just go there and be yourself.
Thank you. We could go on and on over beer or coffee. Kaya lang, syempre may limit itong ating
Mahirapan
podcast.
po yung editor. Oo.
Yes. So, thank you very much for the nuggets of wisdom you've shared in this podcast. So, that's a wrap for this episode of Breaking Down the Buzz, the PRSP YouthCon in a podcast, in partnership with the Pod Network, a pioneer 12-episode series designed for students and young practitioners of PR and communications. We hope that you learned something from this podcast. Join us for the next episode as we continue to create online discussions on the topics and touch points that matter. Again, we would like to thank Ms. Kate Delos Reyes, founder of Beacon, and Diane Hidalgo, Director for Corporate and Public Affairs of Evident Integrated Marketing and PR, for their wonderful contribution to our podcast on preparing next-gen PRs, career opportunities in PR and communications. Breaking Down the Bus podcast learning sessions are created and organized by the Public Relations Society of the Philippines Education Committee. For further information on this podcast series, visit prsp.ph. And thank you also to the new channel for the tokens for our speakers. Wonderful surprises await lucky podcast listeners, so don't miss an episode. Find out more at prsp.ph. Finally, PRSP and the Pod Network thank all the podcast listeners. We hope you shared some value to our chosen profession of PR and communications. I'm Ed Timbungco, your host. Take care, everyone.
The opinions of podcast creators, hosts, and guests are not necessarily reflective of the official stance of the Pod Network Entertainment, its hosts, or other network programs. The content created by the people behind the podcast is personal and not meant to harm any religion, ethnicity, group, organization, company, or individual.